New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis for the Nick of Time show here. Give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And excuse me for the interrupted intro. But we are back, man. We are back talking that Knicks talk. It's been a while since I last saw you guys. Hold on a second. Hold on. See, look. Having technical difficulties. This is what happens when you stay back. Stay away from one. Here we go. What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And we are back. It's been a minute since we last saw y'all. Last time we talked to you guys, we talked with Mark Berman. And now, with the playoffs going on, we're here to talk some New York Knicks. We're talking some good, bad things to the playoffs. And these playoff topics end with how you see the New York Knicks moving forward. And there's definitely certain things to talk about, and we're going to talk about it all. And before we talk about it all, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and also let me introduce my guy. All right, I'm introducing my guy, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G's in the building. Glad to be back. Watching some NBA playoff basketball. Wish the Knicks were there, but unfortunately, it's not the case this year. So,
yeah, exactly. And you know what? And this is a special episode. I'm going to try something new. All right. We're going to see how this goes. You never did this before, but it's first time for everything. And so we're going to test it out. So here's the deal, guys. There will be no call in today. All right. I repeat, there will be no call in today. Nobody's calling in. But if you do want to talk with us, I'm going to post a link in the chat. And we will let you in to talk with us live on video. Or you don't have to be on video. Maybe you just, I don't know. Maybe you want to keep the camera off and talk. You can do that too. And you can join us in talking with our Knicks talk. So this is our first KOT Knicks fan open forum. We're going to try it out and see how you guys like it. And get to talk with us, debate us in forum style with the fans about the topics. All right. So salute to you guys, and please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, and let's talk some of this Knicks talk. All right. Cool. Now, see, I got the old ticker up too. I gotta change the old ticker. That's fine. That's fine. But here's the thing. Now, Ryan, I've been observing these Knicks lately, right?
yeah.
And I also been taking a look at the playoffs, and I've been studying the playoffs and kind of comparing them to the Knicks to see where we stand. And it's obvious that when I'm looking at these playoffs, there's certain things that the Knicks need to change. And one thing that I want to talk about is the fall of the Brooklyn paint jobs, aka the New Jersey Nets, aka the Brooklyn Nets. All right. Now, what was interesting to me about the Brooklyn Nets, besides them winning the same amount of playoff games as our New York Knicks this season,
Shout out to World Wide West.
shout out to World West, but is with the Nets talent, right? The Nets have an immense talent. They have arguably one of the two best ISO scorers in the league. And even with those ISO scorers, the Celtics were able to shut them down. And when you're looking about how they're trying to score, there's no off-ball movement. It's strictly ISO. And, you know, Kyrie Irving asked for this. Kyrie Irving asked for a coach not to be a coach, asked for them to not run plays. And you start to see when there was no off-ball movement whatsoever, even with the two of one of the greatest ISO players in the NBA, we were still manhandled. They were still manhandled and shut down to the point where they didn't even win one game. Which leads me to believe at some point we've talked about Tom Thibodeau and his effectiveness as a New York Knick, and or his lack thereof, and it just it just lets me know that we absolutely need an offensive coordinator on this team, or at least for him to evolve. Because if the Nets get shut down with two of the best isolation offensive scorers in the league, because they don't have off-ball movement, because they don't have plays set for them, what chance do we have with Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau's ISO-heavy offense? I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I definitely agree because, throughout the season, we've definitely been complaining about the Knicks' lack of off-ball movement, especially when the Knicks don't have a dominant offensive player like a Kevin Durant or a Kyrie Irving. And as you can see with the Nets, with the style of play that they had in the playoffs against the Celtics, whenever Durant was isolated or whatever the case may be, whenever Durant drove, there was several Celtics defending him from all angles. Like, I forgot who was breaking down film. I was watching it on ESPN, I believe, and they were breaking down film. And they showed different, or it could have been NBA on TNT. It could either be one of them. Mm-hmm. But every time Durant drove to the basket, like, not only did he have somebody who was like staying in front of him, trying to guard him, but there was always like a Celtic coming from the side of him as well, trying to contest the shot as well. So it's like Durant was going up for shots, and he had like multiple people contesting him at the same time.
Yeah.
And then that's what happens when you don't have no ball movement. You allow the defense to just sit still and be able to guard and be able to have multiple players guard one guy without having to worry about any of the other guys moving on offense. So, that I agree. Like, the Knicks definitely need to incorporate ball movement into the offense, because with the way they played, especially when they had Julius Randle out there and the other players that they had out there who were ISO heavy, the Knicks offense stagnated a whole lot, and that really did contribute to the Knicks' bad play on offense.
Yeah. So we have to, for us to reach our maximum playability, for us to reach, there's a cap on this team. What I've learned from watching these playoffs absolutely is there's a cap on this team. And regardless of whether you think Tom Thibodeau is the guy who's done a good job or a bad job, the more and more I watch these playoffs, the more and more I start to realize we absolutely have a cap. Even if there is success in the regular season, when comes time to the playoffs, we're going to have off-ball movement. We're going to have more creative guards, and we're going to have more flexibility when it comes to these rotations, because I'm watching teams get massacred because they're not making adjustments. I'm watching teams get massacred because they don't have any off-ball movement or any plays run for them, or even anybody who can read offenses on the fly and make decisions that benefit the team. And which is funny because, and I'm not saying quickly is the de facto answer, but I've seen a lot of encouraging signs that let me think that we should give him more of a try. And one of the things I like about him is him learning how to play make and learning how to make reads off the fly. And things are like that as what going to keep teams from keying in on one offensive player and taking advantage of them for 48 minutes in a playoff game. So that's one of the big takeaways I have from the playoffs. The other is, I alluded to this before, was the lack of adjustments that Tom Thibodeau makes and how it can cost you in the games. I know we both watched Utah versus. We both watched. First of all, Donovan's stock has plummeted in a lot of eyes of Knicks fans, basketball fans. And I'm not going to go to the extreme and say he's a trash player or anything like that. He's still a top player. But I feel like a lot of what I was watching with Donovan was the lack of adjustments. Now imagine Rudy Gobert, I saw some stats that came out, and it talked about, I think it was a list of the 15 most defensive NBA players in the NBA and how they impacted the game, and how when these players are in the game, they drop the opposing opponent's average points by like 2 to 3 to 4 points a game. Rudy Gobert was on top of that list. He was the most effective player in the NBA of having players drop below their average in scoring. Also, I'd like to add that Emmanuel Quickly is also on that list. And I also would like to add Alex Burks was not on that list. I'm just like, and he was in the game for defense. I'm just letting you guys know he was in the game for defense, but he was not on the list. But Emmanuel Quickly was. But I digress. But what I want to say about that though is, even with the impact that he has had in the regular season, when Dallas went small, took their big man out the game, and had Jalen Brunson run the show, everything just opened up. It was like Moses in the Red Sea. Everything opened up. And I know because of these games, Jalen Brunson's stock is going up in a lot of Knicks fans' heads. Donovan Mitchell's stock has dropped in a lot of Knicks fans' heads. And both of these guys are really good players. I'm not going to lie. Jalen Brunson, he's did his thing. All right? But here's the bigger thing to me. If you take Donovan Mitchell, if you take Rudy Gobert from that center spot and then move him to the bench and add a stretch 5 to Utah's offense, then what happens with Donovan Mitchell? You're right, like, if you keep the big man in Dallas's offense, then what happens with Jalen Brunson? Because Donovan Mitchell couldn't guard a stump. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, we watching Jalen Brunson go damn near 1-on-1 for that entire Dallas series. And you can't do that with a big man in the paint. You're not going to do that. You're not getting away with that. So I admire what Jalen Brunson did. I'm not taking anything away from his talent. And I actually believe if he was a Knick, he would do just fine. But I do feel like coaching, I do feel like the ability to have a stretch 5 and to adapt and be willing to either play small or willing to have an untraditional lineup is going to help you in playoffs and help you progress in this league. And another reason why when I'm looking at Tom Thibodeau, I'm going, even if we do better next season, his lack of adjustments is going to bite us in the butt eventually, especially in this modern NBA.
Yeah, the thing with Utah is that I think Coach Quinn Snyder was kind of like he was kind of suffering from the same thing Thibodeau suffers from, because you have Rudy Gobert on your team. Rudy Gobert is like a 2 or 3 time defensive player of the year. And you know that he guards the paint well, you know, he alters shots in the paint, etc. So you as a coach, you're reluctant to remove Gobert, even if the team you're going against has made adjustments to try to negate Gobert. So
right.
As a coach, you're like, this is my guy, 2 to 3 time defensive player of the year. I'm not willing to take him out because he's our defensive anchor. You know, he anchors the defense. He's in the paint. He blocks shots. He alters shots, etc. But like you said, you need a coach that's going to make adjustments, because for that series when Dallas went small, that made Gobert ineffective. And Dallas killed him with that corner 3 just because of that.
All game long.
Corner 3 all day for Dallas, and they killed him there.
All game long.
And the coach didn't make no adjustments, didn't want to take Gobert out the game and put in a smaller line to try to, you know, run out to those shooters at the corners to try to negate that for Dallas. And that's how Dallas, because, I mean, honestly, look, Dallas went into that series, Luka Doncic is injured. You're automatically thinking right there, like, this is easy money right now.
Easy.
They don't have their best player. We have all of our guys. We should be dominating them. And instead, Dallas goes small. Jalen Brunson's dropping like near 30 a game. and it's like,
oh man, he got him looking like baby like Iverson on steroids. The way I was like, what in the world? Imagine, I'm imagining us with a stretch 5 and RJ bullying people the way Jalen Brunson is bullying people. That's what I'm seeing. But that's what I'm seeing. We have pieces who can kind of do. Well, listen, RJ hasn't finished at that high rate yet, but he can at least get to the hole and score and draw fouls. And also, I'm looking at the Grizzlies too. We have Steven Adams is in the same boat, right? Steven Adams is a guy who's a beast, offensive rebounding machine. The Grizzlies took him out for like a couple of games. The Grizzlies took him out a couple of games to match up with Cat in the Timberwolves because they had to do what they had to do. Steven Adams had a great year. Great year. Yeah, we gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly, and that's why the Grizzlies are so great, because if you look at the Grizzlies' record, like, yeah, Ja Morant might be out, but if you look at the Grizzlies all season, the Grizzlies still played good without Ja Morant. Like, not saying that they don't need Ja Morant, but it's like without Ja Morant, they can still function as a team and they can still win games. I mean, damn. I mean, what, game 5 against the Warriors, they smacked them dudes by 50 without Ja Morant. So that's why I think the Grizzlies are effective, because their coach can make adjustments. Their coach is like, yeah, even though this player has done great for us this season, this series, he's not serving us. So let's adjust, make adjustments, and then just get through this series. And now look, they're using Steve Adams against the Warriors, and he's killing the Warriors in the paint, because Warriors ain't got no bigs.
No bigs.
And he's killing them in the paint. So it's like you need a coach that's going to make adjustments according to the team. And Thibs hasn't shown that enough this past season. Like, Thibs started to do that more towards the end of the season when it was too late. But if he was doing that throughout the season, the Knicks would have been in a much better spot. Because look, the Knicks can play big, the Knicks can play small. The Knicks have the personnel for both.
Yeah.
And Thibs needed to do more of, you know what, this team, we need to go small more. So let's match up with them, let's go small and match up with them more. Okay, this team is big, so let's, play our big lineup. And Thibs didn't do that enough throughout the season.
Yeah, and right now we don't have a traditional stretch 5. I mean, maybe we'll be able to get Pumo Bamba. Who knows what's going to happen? But at the very least, with the successful Obi Toppin towards the end of the season, if he's getting more minutes, it's more viable to play Julius Randle and Obi together in instance when the matchup calls for it. And I'm hoping what the coach has seen is going to push us more in that direction. And I might be even hoping for more that we move on from Julius Randle as a direction altogether. But that's a whole nother story. And I see you guys in the chat, 28-5 without Ja. Yeah, shout out to Tyus Jones. He's on the radar too. We gonna talk about Tyus Jones and everybody else. But listen, today, I see a couple of people. I see a KOT fam in here. This is all KOT fam. But that's waiting to get in the chat. Now, today, guys, this is a special day. There are no phone calls. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, KOT fam. They left. I'm sorry. I was like, we waited too long. I'm sorry. All right, so today is a special show, right? Today is our Knicks fan roundtable show. If you are Knicks, so if you want to join this conversation, all you gotta do is click this link that's in the. I put the link in the chat right there. I think I'm gonna pin this. Let me pin this bad boy. If you click the link in that chat and you want to join this conversation on video, all you gotta do is click that link and join us and give us your takes, and we'll go into a back and forth discourse. As now I have it set up, you can do 4 extra people at a time if you want to. So shout out to Knicks Nation and everybody else who's watching the show. It's the first time we're trying this. We're gonna try it out, see how it works, and continue. I saw Ken was in here earlier. I saw Fritz was in here earlier. Y'all can join if you want. Anybody else can also join if you want. I know some of your favorites who like to call in, Jason and those guys. You can call them in if you want as well. But shout out to you guys, all right? And also, super chats. Gunshot. Shout out Jason M. Sends a file super chat, says, watching the Mavs plays Keebler at the 5 beat the Suns. You can't tell me Obi and Randall couldn't play together last season. Tibbs is too damn stubborn. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And when I was watching those games, that's exactly, I was like, man. And I was also respect to Jason Kidd, because Jason Kidd is putting battery in people's backs. He got Frank out here shining. Jason Kidd has caused more devastation to Knicks Twitter in like 2 days than KD has in like a year. All right, because if you've been on Knicks Twitter, you've seen the bloodbath that's going on with the Frank Hive versus everybody else. All right. And those of you guys know, I've been part of the Frank Hive, carry member of Frank Hive for years. I'm rooting for the guy, whether he's here or not. I'm rooting for the guy, and I liked what he's done so far. I liked what he's done. To me, he hasn't been a starting caliber point guard, but you know he's doing what he's meant to do.
See,
he's doing what he's meant to do, and Jason, please mute your YouTube when you come in so it doesn't be an echo. Just letting you know right now. But he's doing what he's supposed to do, and that's shutting motherfuckers down. All right, because CP3 has been in jail. All right, with Devin Booker. Yo, hold on.
I have my company background from when I'm working in.
That's fine. Wait a minute. Hold on. We're gonna get you in here. First time. All right, here we go.
Damn, it's dark as hell back on my.
It's dark as hell.
Look. You can see me.
I do see you. Hold on.
It looks dark, right?
You look a little bit dark.
Yeah.
Let me fix this lighting. 1 second.
Oh, my man's got lighting. He's like, listen. Here we go. Interesting. This is the first time trying to do this live, so this is gonna be very interesting. I don't know why it's coming in backwards, but it's coming in backwards.
Well, what's coming in backwards?
His video is like very let's see. I mean, it is what it is right now. It's gonna be weird, but we'll be able to see him. It's just on some weird mirror stuff. But anyway, so Jason, first of all, shout out to Jason, man. I never seen him. He's been calling in for mad long. This is probably one of the coolest things about this episode. We can actually see the people we usually talk to for the most part.
Yeah. What you call it? It's funny. I had called in and I was like, "There's no phone lines," and then Fritz is like, "There's no calls today." So I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. So my super chat, what I just said that's like the main thing I've been thinking about watching this playoffs. Is like, on one hand, I'm like, the Knicks, why we don't play the way any of these teams are playing in the playoffs?
Yeah, we don't.
Like, yeah, it's just Tibbs, and we don't have the players. And I'm like thinking in my head, but we got 2 4s that are versatile. And don't tell me we don't have a stretch 5. Kleber's not a stretch 5. He's a 4. They moved him to 5 because that's what teams do.
Yeah.
But do that. And it just drives me crazy. Like, thinking about that, I really think that was one of the biggest mistakes of this whole year, because that created the dynamic where it was Obi versus Randall.
Yeah.
So fans chant Obi, it means F you to Randall. That wouldn't have happened if they could have played together.
It might have still happened, but
it might have still happened, but it means that Randall didn't have to feel bad every time the fans chanted for Obi.
Right.
If he didn't, that meant that the fans didn't want him to play. That's what I'm saying.
Nah, I do get you on that regard. I do get you. But like, I agree with you wholeheartedly. There hasn't been enough adjustments, and the thing that's been impressive for me, and I've said this. I'm not sure if I saw this online or if I just said it on Twitter, because sometimes I can get confused of where I say stuff. But I feel like Tom Thibodeau has done a really good job of preparing his kids to play. When we talk about development, right? Carter development is teaching, and I think I did say this online. Thibodeau is a very good teacher, and I think that's his strength. His strength is he can teach the fundamentals till he's blue in the face, and that's why our kids, when people talk about development and have the kids developed, some people will say yes, because if you look at the full scope of this team where we are right now, IQ, OB, and those guys have gotten better from year to year. But what Tom has failed us is the trust part. And this is why I'm watching Jason Kidd and admiring what he's doing, because when you listen to Jason Kidd in his interviews, he's pumping them up. Like you remember when Fizdale was here a couple of years ago, and he would just say these outrageous things. Like he was like, I forgot, what was he calling?
He said that what's his name was going to be our Draymond Green. He's
right.
Yeah.
His name, the power forward.
Lance Thomas.
Yeah.
Lance Thomas was called Lance.
It wasn't Lance. It was who was our power forward that year? He's not an NBA.
What was it? Vonleh?
Noah Vonleh.
I think it was Noah Vonleh. I think maybe it was Lance Thomas. He's like,
I think it was Lance Thomas.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it was Lance Thomas.
It was Lance Thomas.
Yeah, he could be our Draymond Green.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here like squinting, like, Draymond, is that you? Nah. And this is the thing. This is the missing element from Tibbs. He does a really good job preparing his kids, but after that, you gotta pump them up. You gotta like, listen, you were the best shooter in the world. Stephen Curry, Mark Jackson called Steph Curry the best shooter in the world before he was actually the best shooter in the world. He just saw the potential.
But that's not Tibbs. That's not Tibbs. Tibbs is, even when he says they're doing good, in his mind, they have a place. Their place is behind the vets. So it's like we need everybody. Everybody's playing good. We need everybody. They're doing great. They're doing great. I love the kids.
Right.
In his mind, their place is always behind the vets. In his mind, if it don't matter who the Knicks draft, that player is not coming in to replace any of the players that are on this roster now. Like that player is like 2 years away in his mind from actually being a good NBA player. That's what I think, at least. I don't know.
No, yeah, absolutely right. And I'm hoping that changes next season. And Mark Berman stated that he feels like he feels remorseful, but we'll see.
I'll believe it when I see it. You know, I don't all this media, these puff pieces that everybody's writing about Tibbs now, I'll believe it when I see it. Put your money where your mouth is. Put the minutes where your mouth is. That's really what it comes down to.
And it's funny, because I think you're referring to the Fred Katz piece. And Fred Katz, it's funny because I was watching a pod, I think it was the Shot Knicks Film School. I was watching that pod when Fred Katz was on it. And he was actually saying, when he wrote the piece, he just wrote it reporting on what was happening. He didn't expect the big reaction that it got.
He was replying. You know who he was responding, and I don't want to toot my horn, but I put a tweet right away criticizing the article, and then he replied right away saying I didn't read the article and all this other stuff. So I think, and that he was saying what you said, that he wrote I think he was responding, and it wasn't just me, it was other people too, but we were all like, yeah, really? I said the timing of this, I go, let me find out. I bet you the Knicks guys, their press person was like, hey, why don't we call Fred Katz and tell him about all these things the youth have been doing and try and get the fans off. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Well, Fred is an interesting guy because he's like a basketball guy. He's not even a Knicks guy, so he's an interesting guy on his own. But that's neither here or there. We still need to make adjustments. But let me move the conversation forward. And before I move the conversation forward, I'll say this as well. For you guys who want to join the conversation, this is open forum day, which means if you guys want to chat with us, you can click that Zoom link and we'll bring you in and we can talk Knicks talk with us. And I'm glad that Jason's here today, because Jason, I was on Twitter and he was just like, yo, this Jalen Brunson thing.
When did I say that? When did I say that to you?
That was like, I think 3 weeks ago.
That was after game one, I believe.
Yeah.
Terrible in game one.
Yeah.
The Jalen Brunson argument's done. I already won it. I don't even have to have a debate anymore. Is he going to be, are the Mavericks actually going to allow him to go? And I don't think they are. So I think it's dead. I think the fact that people are like, what fans don't seem to understand is, and this comes on with any trade or anything, they think that they don't understand value and how it works. They're like, I need to see Jalen Brunson play great in the playoffs before we sign him. And in my head, I'm like, no, you don't want him to play great in the playoffs before he signs him, because we're not going to be able to sign him if he plays great.
Here's my counter argument, right? Here's what I'll say. Jalen Brunson, you got to give that man all the props in the world, because he's always been a steady player, right? If I'm looking at his stats, he's averaged 9 points a game in his first season, 8 in the second season. This season, he's averaged 16 points a game. with 31 minutes a night, right? And I'm like, cool. I'm always a percentage. I'm a percentage guy, right? So I'm like, cool. 16% game, cool. 31 minutes in, all right, cool. What is percentages? You look at his percentages. 37% from three, 50% from the field. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. So, and during that Utah series, he averaged 27 points a game in the Utah series, and no one expected it. But this is what I have to say about that. If Jalen Brunson comes to the Knicks, it wouldn't be a bad move, right? It would not be a bad move, depending on what we give up, or if we have to give everything up, because he is a free agent. So because he's a free agent, he can walk. He doesn't necessarily have to be signed in trade, and we can cut players. We can cut salary to sign him.
But
really,
not cut. You mean we could trade? Like, you can't cut. I mean, you have to wait unless you stretch them, and you don't want to stretch players. But we got 3 years.
We have players here who are easily movable, who have a year left on their deal, with player options, and I feel like we'll be able to clear cap. We'll be able to clear cap.
No, this is what it is. We will be able to move them, and all the things. When you think about how much it's going to cost to get Brunson, is how much would it cost to move Derrick Rose and Nerlens Noel, and whatever that cost is, that's all we have to give the Mavs. Because if we could tell the Mavs, we're gonna clear cap space and sign Brunson, or we could do a sign and trade, whichever one you want to do.
But I'm talking about
to get rid of those two guys. Oh, sorry, my.
It's all good. It's all good. I understand, man. I understand. Yo, shout out to all the fathers out here. I get it.
Sorry. So that's my point. Like, I don't know what it's going to cost to do that, but like, Derrick Rose is a good player. A lot of people. I say Derrick Rose because he's making $14 million. He's making almost the most. Nerlens Noel, okay, attach 2 seconds. We got seconds. That's what we got all those seconds for. Attach 2 seconds. Send them to OKC. There you go.
Right. But we also have Alec Burks, who he's a full season and he's a team option on that.
We could do any of those. I just picked Rose because he makes the most, so therefore he would clear the most.
Right, but it's one of those things. Will Tom have an aneurysm if you end up trading Derrick Rose? Is the question.
I don't. Here's my thing. I don't care about Thibodeau. Like, when it comes down to team planning, Tibbs, to me, in my mind, Tibbs is only going to be there for 1 more year anyway. So why should I care about what he does anyway?
I think he's only going to be here for 1 more year either. But I also think that we underestimate. I feel like we underestimate the relationship between Tibbs and Leon Rose.
Yeah.
And I know, when you come to team building, there's people who have different views on how to build teams. So I do feel like it's a give and take, but I'm not sure if he's willing to give. But I do feel like we're at a crossroads where the youth is getting better. So we do have a lot of decisions to make. And to my other point, Jalen Brunson, if he goes to the Knicks, would be a solid pickup, right? He's a guy. He's a steady pace. I seen him being compared to Kyle Lowry because of his sturdiness, but he can't. He doesn't shoot threes at a high clip like those guys. So I don't see him as a Kyle Lowry. He's more of a bully ball point guard to me than anything. But he's a sturdy guy, and he broke out. He's starting to break out in his 3rd season. My only question is, and this is Tom Thibodeau's fault, I can see Emmanuel quickly breaking out next season. And then his value being higher than Jalen Brunson. Is that a guarantee? No.
Yeah, but that's a good thing to have. That's a good problem to have when you have 2 players who have good value. That's one thing I'm trying to get through a lot of Knicks fans' heads. They see everything as like one or the other. Like, you want to have more good players on your team.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I hate and it drives me crazy, and I think this is how I think our whole argument started. I'm tired of people saying, well, Emmanuel Quickly's there and he's only getting paid $4 million. So why would we pay Jalen Brunson $20 million? Emmanuel Quickly next summer is going to be up for an extension.
Yeah.
And so how much do you think he's going to get paid? He's not going to be a $4 million player for the rest of his career.
No, he's not going to be $4 million, but he's not going to be 27.
And my question is, and this I'm not arguing with you because I don't Quickly a lot. A lot of people think I don't like Quickly because I've been making this argument. Do we know Quickly's going to be better than Brunson?
We don't know. We don't know if he's going to be better than Brunson, but we also don't know. Like, here's the thing. You don't really know, but you have glimpses. Now, like, here's
the thing. If we don't know, and I agree, we don't know. If we keep Quickly and don't get Brunson because of Quickly, and then Quickly's not as good, but we still have to pay him 18, 20 million when he's in 2 years, we're all gonna be looking like, why do we do this? And that's the point that I'm just trying to make to people. I'm not saying that Quickly's not good. I'm just saying this idea that Quickly is free and cheap and Brunson costs money, like that, soon Quickly's gonna cost money too. And I don't want every fan that's been praising him to turn on him once he's making $20 million and he don't live up to how hyped everybody made him.
You got something to say, Ryan? I feel like you want to say something the way your face is.
All right, well, there's always going to be a dilemma because you have good young guards on the Knicks right now. You know, Quickly's a good young guard, and if you bring in somebody like a Jalen Brunson or whatever the case may be, he's gonna have a big contract, and then you don't know if you're gonna have enough space to re-sign Quickly if you decide to keep him or whatever the case may be. My thing is this: like, I feel like any move the Knicks make, if the Knicks do decide, okay, we want to sign Brunson or whatever the case may be, it has to be through a sign and trade. They cannot just bring this guy in through free agency and be like, all right, we're gonna bring him in on 20 mil and just add him to what the Knicks have right now, because you have to think about the future as well. You want to sign this player, you want to sign that player, and at the same time, you have to create space for the other players on the team that you want to develop as well. So if you're gonna bring in a Brunson on 20 mil, you're gonna have to take out the same amount of salary for that player as well, and you have to make sure it's more than one player, because you're going to have to try to loosen the logjam a bit, because you don't want a situation where it's like you have Brunson, you have Rose, you have Quickly, etc., and then it's like all of a sudden you're stunting one of your young kids' growth just because you bring in Brunson, you decide to keep Rose and keep the roster as it is. So it's a tough situation, I think, for the Knicks front office that they're going to have to make, where, if they're going to bring in like another point guard, other moves have to be made so that you kind of loosen the logjam and have the young players. So you have space to develop young players and not just veterans playing the full 10-man rotation.
I think that's more my worry. Cause I feel what Jason's saying. I feel what Ryan is saying. The thing is, all right, to get him in here, right? Alec Burks will probably have to go, or Derrick Rose, or is another point guard or point guard-ish role is going to be out the door if Jalen Brunson gets here. That's the way I see it in my mind, because to match salaries, and they're going to want something back as well. Maybe it might be Mitch and something else, but I feel like if a point guard is going to Dallas or somewhere else, somebody else has to go. That's one. But two, my worry is this: Tom Thibodeau. If we get Jalen Brunson, he's going to play Jalen Brunson's 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson play at least 35, 40 minutes.
That's my biggest worry.
I have a question for you guys.
That's my biggest worry.
You guys do any suggestions, right? This is a thing against Tibbs. How often are you saying in your mind, but Tibbs? When you're thinking of what the Knicks should do. Oh, we should do this, but Tibbs.
Yes.
Oh, we should do this, but Tibbs. I can't. This is what I try to explain to people when they say we're too harsh on Tibbs. Tell me a path forward that makes sense with Tibbs. That's all I'll tell those people.
Okay, a path. Okay,
but I'm sorry to cut you off, Jay, but at the same time, we have to be realistic about the situation. Who's our coach? Tibbs. So it's like, if you want to, so for example, like if you want to do certain things, you have to keep in mind who your coach is.
I'm just mad about Tibbs. I'm not mad at you guys saying but Tibbs.
That's why
mad about you guys know how I feel.
Yeah,
I'm just venting. All right, we haven't had a show in how long? I haven't been able to speak.
Facts. And I'm gonna tell, if you guys want to join the chat, man, there's no calls today. Just click the link This is pinned to the top, and I just put it in the chat. If you guys, this is open fan forum. If you wanted to talk, we'll bring you in. We can do 6 people total at a time. So come in and help us with this Knicks talk if you want to get in here. All right. But I had something to say and I lost the thought. I'm trying to get it back.
You're talking about the point guards and Tibbs playing Brunson a lot of minutes.
Right. Okay, the other part of this is this. Asset management and asset if I'm looking at the stock market right now, all the stocks are plummeting. And to me, when I'm looking at the stock in Quickly and the stock in Obi and the stock in Cam Reddish, I see that as plummeting stock in my mind. And when you have other players in front of them who are getting more minutes, I feel like we're depreciating assets. That's the way I view it. So for me, I feel like the best moves to do is to clear runway for the youth as much as possible, to appreciate, to I say force appreciation. To
but
let
Jay, you really
Wait,
think they're gonna do that? You think that
though.
with Tibbs, they're really gonna just move out all the vets and only keep the young players? Like that's what's gonna happen?
I don't think it's gonna be. I feel like I don't know if that's going to happen, specifically with Julius Randle, because he's one of the biggest guys who has to be moved. But I do feel like Burks numbers. I feel like Alec Burks might be gone by the end of the season for sure.
Yo, Jails, you gotta explain something to me though, because you said that Quickly and Obi's stock is plummeting. I see it as the opposite.
No, I agree with
is
him. You know
rising.
why?
No,
Ryan, you know why? Because to us Knicks fans, their stock is rising. To other people, they only got a lot of playing time in the last 10 minutes of the last 10 games of the season when people were playing garbage time. Like that to GMs, they're not gonna be like, yo, Quickly got a trip, Obi got 30 points.
exactly.
They're not gonna be like, yo, he could be my starting 4.
Exactly.
If Tibbs would have played them when we told them to play them, but you know, what do the fans know? Then made a difference.
There's an asterisk. There's going to be an asterisk during those games. There's an asterisk. If you listen to people talk, there's an asterisk because it's the end of the season, and can they do it in this when there's real pressure and real things on the line of the game? That's the narrative that's going around. Like no one really knows. Nobody.
I wasn't thinking about it from that perspective, because I was thinking of it as me watching them play toward the end of the season and seeing how their game grew. But then at the same time, you know, you have to think about all the excuses people put in as well. You know, oh, they were playing teams that weren't playing all their starters. You know, they were playing a bunch of bench guys and this and that and blah blah blah. So yeah, you're right.
Here's the thing people can say, and look, I know this is like an anti-Tibbs for me, but it's true. Here's what, and if I was an agent, and this is why Brock Oliver must hate Tibbs, because when he calls them, he says, hey, let's say the Knicks were going to trade for, I don't know, a star. And they're like, well, I have Obi and Emmanuel Quickly. A lot of people on Knicks Twitter think that, oh, I wouldn't trade Emmanuel Quickly and Obi for a star. Like, I'm like, you idiot. No team would actually want those guys for a star. They're going to be like, Obi's so great. Why did he only play 14 minutes a game?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Quickly so good. Why did Alec Burks start at point guard instead of Emmanuel Quickly?
Yeah. Exactly.
Hurt when like that affects their value.
Exactly. Which is why every time I think of a trade and I think, oh, maybe we should move this person, I think about that. I think about the value of our young guys, and it's not a foregone conclusion that everybody's going to be this amazing player. But if you're a GM and you feel like, you know what, this is the most talented group of young guys we've ever had, I want to roll the dice on these 1 or 2 year players to see if we can raise these guys' value to either make a bigger move or go, you know what, screw the bigger move. This is our guy. Like we got to find that out.
Exactly. Like remember what Zach Lowe said before the trade deadline? He said teams were like they were looking at Quickly, right? It wasn't because Quickly was playing great. It was because they wanted to fleece us. They were like, yo, the Knicks are bad. Maybe we could plug Quickly for like not much because, you know, the Knicks are stupid.
Yeah, and I wanted to throw in this as well because what was I gonna say again? I just lost my train of thought. But regarding the young players. So all right, so we all know that their stock, you know, is plummeting, you know, whatever the case may be, because they're not playing, you know, the young players how they should and this and that. But I think, okay, now I got it. Okay, so now the Knicks, right? What kills me with a lot of Knicks fans is that, you know, they say you trade for this player, trade for that player. So they're like, yeah, let's trade for Donovan Mitchell and this and that. But they're like, okay, let's just give up IQ, OB, and draft picks. And I'm like, come on now, y'all gotta think about this for a second, because it's like, look, if you want a Donovan Mitchell, they're gonna look at IQ and OB, they're gonna be like, that's nice, but what about RJ? What about Mitch and those guys? They're gonna want those guys first and foremost before you even get to OB and IQ. And that's what kills me about a lot of Knicks fans. Like, yeah, I'll say trade for this guy and trade for that guy, but if we're realistically gonna trade for those players, they're gonna gut all of our young players, including our young stars that we already have on the team right now. So it's like, you can't just be like, trade for Donovan Mitchell. Let's trade for this guy. Let's trade for that guy. Because if we do that, our good young core is gone.
Let's stay here. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Let's stay here. Donovan Mitchell. You're hearing all the noise in the streets about Donovan Mitchell. It's been reported all year that if they lose in the first round of playoffs, Donovan Mitchell is going to win out. Guess what, guys? They lost. First round of the playoffs. He gets on the stands after the playoffs ends. He looks into the camera and they say, what do you want to do? I don't know. I need time to think about it. Dun, dun, dun. The music plays. Everybody's, it's starting. And so here's the thing. Would you at this point trade for Donovan Mitchell after this conversation? And let me be clear. I don't really think Utah will even trade Donovan Mitchell right now. I think everybody in Mama knows they're gonna trade Rudy Gobert before they trade Donovan Mitchell. Like, everybody knows that. And because Donovan Mitchell's contract is so large, like, it's a 4-year. How many years? Like 3-4 years left. For him to leave, he has to pull an Anthony Davis. He has to come up. He has to come to practice with the, you know, that's all folks t-shirt. Or he has to pull a James Harden, eat only cheeseburgers and French fries, and come. That's the only way he's out for real. But would you trade for Donovan Mitchell? And I would say no, and it's for the reasons we talked about. And go ahead. I'm gonna start with you, Jason, since you the.
I would say, it's funny. I waver on this a lot. I would say no right now, but that has nothing to do with Donovan Mitchell. It has nothing to do with even the Knicks. Do you see how good the East is right now? Like, we can't make a whole all-in move and think we're gonna beat the Bucks.
Oh no,
beat the Sixers, beat the Nets, beat like the Heat. Like, I'm almost starting to look at it where it's like, I don't know what we should do. Obviously, we should do. I think we should make little moves to make the roster better. Hence, I said the Jalen Brunson thing, which in reality, I really don't even want Jalen Brunson. I really want Colin Sexton, but that's a whole nother story. So I don't think that's why I'm scared to make a big move. I think it's almost like, the East is so good right now. We could do all this big move, trade our first round, all our picks, and we might not even get. The Nets just lost in the first round. And I know the Nets got a lot of issues, but they're still a good team.
Yeah.
Like,
right, to the Celtics, who they're up by 4 right now.
Yeah.
We could do all that and still lose in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, I'm with you. Like, I wouldn't trade for Donovan Mitchell right now. And it's just for the simple fact that, yeah, you look at the East is great. If Donovan Mitchell was to come to the Knicks, you have to think about the pieces that the Knicks would lose in that trade and what Donovan Mitchell would be coming to when he comes to the Knicks. If Donovan Mitchell is not making noise with that Utah team he has right now, you think he's going to make noise when he comes to the Knicks with the piece that's going the other way?
Nope.
Knicks are not going to be much better. So it's like, why are you going to make a trade that's going to maybe give the Knicks like maybe 5 extra wins and get knocked out in the first round maybe? And it don't make sense.
And it'll be more than 5 extra wins. Come on, put some respect on Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, who are we? My thing is,
okay, I'll give the Knicks 8+ wins.
My thing is, who are we trading? Because we already talked about the value of the young guys and our Knicks. You know, historically, Knicks fans value our young players higher than anybody else in the league. Historically, right? But the value of Quickly and Obi and Cam and those guys are higher in our head than they are in real life. Unfortunately. And I feel like it's too early to trade those guys right now. From what I was saying, their value isn't high enough to me yet to make any moves to where you don't have to gut the team to make a move. You can go, oh, he's a really solid piece.
It's weird though, because even though their value is low, like we said, they haven't played a lot. They're still on rookie contracts. So like a year from now, teams are going to be like, oh, if we trade for Obi or IQ next year, we have to pay them a year from now. So it's weird. It's hard to explain, but there's no easy answers. That's what it comes down to is there's no easy answers.
There's no easy answers.
None of us could just say, do this and you'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm with you. That's why I'm with the
That's
start.
why I'm not really that excited for this offseason. Normally, wait to see what the Knicks do.
I'm scared, man.
I'm scared like crazy.
This I feel like I'm playing a video game, and I'm playing Mario, and there's nothing but like little toads and plants coming out of pipes everywhere, and I have to jump, and there's like no way to land. That's what I'm watching.
I'm gonna scare you guys right now. You watched the Locked On Knicks show? They did a thing with Knicks Film School, and he a great point. He said, "How much you think RJ is gonna get paid?" Let's say RJ gets paid $30 million per year, right? How much you think IQ is gonna get paid in his next contract?
I ain't even thought about it yet. He's been the
season,
second round,
17 mil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that. Then Obi, let's say he gets paid a similar number, maybe 15 mil, 16 mil, right? You could have a potential where in the summer of 2023, RJ, IQ, and Obi, just those three are making $70 million or close to $70 million. That's almost half the salary cap.
And this is, it's funny because this is what I was trying to type to you on Twitter. And I was typing so much, I was like, I gotta wait till they do a show because it's too much to type. Because when I was talking about the money, because when we said, when I was worried about the money of Brunson, I wasn't just worried about the money of Brunson by himself. Because if you take out Brunson, because realistically, right? Because your idea was bring Brunson in and take Derrick Rose out. That was the original conversation, right?
Yeah, and also my other idea is that if Brunson and IQ are both good, you could trade one of them in the future. Like my idea is not like to put these guys together as like these are the ideal foundation of a championship team.
Right.
It's more of a just building, making the team better, and eventually one of them could be traded for something better.
Yeah, I think for me, I would feel better giving IQ a runway to make mistakes for a year before I bring somebody in to block his path, a la Emmanuel Mudiay, a la Dennis Smith Jr.
Here we go. Since you guys like to pull the butt Tibbs on me, I'm going to pull the butt Tibbs on you guys. You think Tibbs is going to start him and play him before be a starting point guard? The Knicks don't make any point guard moves. You think Tibbs would actually start IQ at point guard for the season?
If they trade Alec Burks, who are
they getting when they trade Alec Burks? That's the other
I don't
thing.
know. If they trade, let's say we trade Alec Burks.
Ryan agrees with me. That's why I see that look on his face.
That's why I'm saying you gotta take away all of his crutches. If you trade Alec Burks for like, I don't know, for like an actual wing or like a center, Alec Burks and somebody else for a center, because who knows if Mitch is gonna be here, then it's going to be between IQ and Derrick Rose and McBride. And at that point,
who you think is winning that battle with Thibs though? That's
listen.
Who you think is winning that battle with Thibs though?
But listen, let me finish. Even when Derrick Rose was here, he was playing Derrick Rose, I feel like around 20 minutes, even when he was healthy. And on top of that, we already know Derrick Rose is not going to be full season. I don't see Derrick Rose being healthy full season. Like I see, unless you keep him around 20 minutes a game, I don't see him being healthy full season. So I feel like by default, he's going to have to play IQ at point guard as a starter at some point. Is my point.
At some point, but it's at some point, but that's still Rose's job though. if the Knicks point guard situation remains the same, that's still Rose's job as a starting point guard. But I agree though, he might not play Rose. Even I don't know if Thibs. I mean, Thibs might still play Rose 30+ minutes a game.
It's still a way better shot than Alec Burks.
Yeah,
because because even as we stand today, IQ plays better defense than Derrick Rose does.
Yeah,
And
he plays better defense than Kemba Walker did too, and that didn't stop him from playing.
yeah, absolutely. And I honestly, I feel like even if you're looking at IQ's numbers, like he was in the 61st percentile shooting at the rim this season, and the year before that, he was in the 37th percentile or 31st percentile, and that's all because he changed his shot diet. Like he figured out how to exploit mismatches and get to the rim, and actually finish this year. And he found a formula that worked towards the end of the season. So I feel like if he's able to do that from the start of the season, now that he's figured that out, I feel like his percentages are gonna go up tremendously this year. Just because he's taking more of those type of twos and less floaters, and the shot is gonna come back. And I really feel like I think I would bet money that he can put something together this year. I think I feel confident about it that if IQ gets runway this year, he's gonna take a step.
I'm not against it. Like if the Knicks stand pat and don't do nothing, like again, my issue is I would need assurances from Tibbs who's gonna start. Like I can't do this going into the season and then some random guy some wing we sign becomes the starting point guard because Tibbs doesn't want to play IQ. Like
right. And hold on, salute to the chat. The lights are looking mad light. I'm sorry. The lights are light right now. We got 58 in the chat, 28 likes. Can we get these likes up to like 40 at least? We out here talking Knicks basketball, and let us know, show us some love. It costs nothing to show us some love. But also shout out to Parrish Duggar who sends a $5 super chat. Shout out to you. He says Randall has to play 20 minutes at the small ball 5 with Obi, Cam, RJ, and Quickly. Tibbs can't hold us hostage. Also, we need a Sochan or Atari Eason. Yeah, we definitely need to. Yeah, we already talked about that a little earlier.
I was gonna say, if y'all want to talk NBA draft, I'm a big draft guy. So
you're a big draft guy. Well, I'm thinking we should do a show Tuesday. I'm thinking probably do a show. I'm preparing an actual show with an actual draft guy, but I'm contemplating on whether.
Yeah, I'm not an expert
Tuesday.
or nothing.
I know you're not an expert. I know you're not an expert.
I mean, as for who the Knicks should draft, I'm gonna wait until I see where the Knicks are positioned in the draft before I
11.
Consider.
What do you mean? Well, you really think we're gonna move up? Come on now.
we had the Knicks have
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe 12. Maybe 12. Maybe we fall back one.
I feel it this year. I feel it. All right. We have not moved up in the draft ever. We've only drafted at our position or later every year we've been in the draft. As bad as we sucked for all these years, we have never gotten lucky. I feel like it's our time. All right. I feel like we're due for one.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a simple fact. The way the Knicks finished the season, I'm like, yo, the basketball gods gotta bless us, man. Like the Knicks.
Everybody keeps saying that, but like,
Knicks
I don't know,
hard.
man.
They finished the season hard. We wasn't taking nothing. Like, yo, the basketball gods need to bless us. Top 4 pick. I'm calling it.
I don't know. The Raptors last year, they didn't finish the season playing great at all, and they moved up.
I mean, yeah, absolutely right. The Pelicans got Zion, and the Memphis Grizzlies got John Morant, and they weren't nowhere near the bottom. So
now the Lakers is the team to look at. They moved up from 11 to 4.
Do they have their pick?
No, they moved. That's when they got AD. They moved up from 11 to 4.
Right, and they trade that pick to the Pelicans, who all has their pick this year. So the Pelicans, the rich get richer, man. Lord. But,
Pelicans already gonna be nasty when Zion come back next season.
Absolutely. And salute to the chat. If you want to join us to talk some Knicks basketball, you can. I'm putting the Zoom link in there. There's no phone calls today, but all you gotta do is click that link in the chat if you want to go live on video and talk Knicks with us. I want to ask you guys some questions about the point guards available right now, because this is called playoffs and point guards. And I already gave my thoughts on the playoffs and how it relates to the Knicks early in the season. It's funny. I've seen certain trade stuff going around, and I want to bring it to you guys' attention. Actually, Ryan, you know this trade better than I do, so I'm gonna let Ryan take it away.
Okay, so recently on ESPN they had a proposed trade between the Bulls Lakers, and the Knicks. That said, the Lakers get Zach LaVine. The Knicks get Russell Westbrook, 2027 first round pick, 2028 first round pick, and the Bulls get Julius Randle and Evan Fournier.
Funny about that trade, the Bulls don't need to be involved in that trade for it to happen. Why do the Bulls? I mean, why do the Lakers have to get Zach LaVine? Like, if the Lakers if they really wanted to like get rid of Russell Westbrook, they could just trade for Randle and Fournier and give those 2 picks up and do it. I'm not saying I would do it, but I just thought that trade made no sense. Why they were even putting the Bulls? They were just doing that. I don't know why.
Yeah, me too. I don't know why. I wouldn't trade, like, if I'm the Bulls, I wouldn't trade Zach LaVine to get Julius Randle and Evan Fournier back. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense for the Bulls.
That makes no sense for them
it makes sense for the Lakers to trade for Randle and Fournier.
It makes sense for the Knicks.
Well,
I mean,
if you want to go down that route, it does.
If you think about it, it would make sense it would make sense for the Knicks from the standpoint of, okay, you get more assets and you get Russell Westbrook. That's 1-year deal. So once this season's over, that Westbrook contract is gone, and then Knicks have a bunch of cap space going into next year's free agency. That's the only way it makes sense for the Knicks. So
it makes sense, but people don't realize is that free agency is not what it used to be. Like, a lot of people, I've been arguing with people on Twitter about this. Everyone's like, "Oh, we need to do is create cap space, create cap space." I'm like, who's signing? Like, who are these free agents that we're going to get once we have this cap space?
Yeah. I mean,
it's true too.
At this point, it seems like the Knicks have to more trade for a star than outright sign on the free agency, especially if
it seems like that for everyone, not just the Knicks. Like, for
right. And knowing what I know about the cap, it just seems like we're not even under cap enough to even outright sign a free agent. So we have to pretty much trade for a free agent, if anything, and look for somebody disgruntled, which further the reason why I feel like we have to play the youth to up their value. But to me, but yeah, this if it hypothetically would make sense for, even though I've never been the biggest Westbrook fan. No, not never. I wouldn't say never. I was a bigger, but it clears. Here's the thing: if you trading Julius Randle is tough, because I feel like no matter what you do, you're gonna block somebody. You're either gonna block IQ. If you bring in another point guard, you're gonna block OB if you bring another power forward, or you're gonna block Cam if you bring in another wing. And those are the guys you want to get. You want to give time to. So I feel like either way we're kind of screwed, but at least this way maybe we're partially screwed, and then we can possibly move Russ at the deadline, because he will be expiring at the deadline. That's the only thing I can really think about.
Nah, you would basically have to waive him. I don't know whether he wants to be waived or not, but like
he's not getting bought out. He is not buying. You are not buying out 47 mil.
You don't have to do a buyout. Like, a lot of people don't get that. You don't have to do a buyout where he gives money back. You could just say we'll pay you your full salary and just go.
Yeah. You think?
No, I don't think they're not going to. All the rumors say the Knicks don't. The Knicks. Here's one thing a lot of fans don't get: the Knicks don't want to take a step back.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much rules out any Westbrook trade. And that's why I honestly don't think the Knicks are going to trade Julius Randle this offseason. Because I don't think they're going to get a deal that they like. And they don't want to take a step back. They want to at least try to make the play-in next year.
It really depends. Yeah, it just really depends on. It really depends on Leon Rose, because I don't know what. Yeah, I really don't know what he really believes and what he doesn't. I think that's the thing, because at the end of the season, Leon Rose writes this beautiful letter to the season ticket holders, expressing this hope for the future, because we have all these young players who are promising. So it seems like he sees the value in the young players. I don't know if he sees the value in the young players, or he's just in tune that we see value in the young players, so he knows to write that to kind of like have hope in the future. Like, I don't know what he's really thinking.
I think Leon Rose, because his whole thing is he wants to build the Knicks into a contender. That's his thing. Like, he wants the Knicks to contend for a championship. So in my mind, I'm thinking if he wants the Knicks to contend for a championship, more than likely you're gonna have to trade for that big name player to come to the Knicks that's gonna transform the Knicks and get them closer to that goal. So how do you do that? You have to develop the youth on the team, because the more you develop the youth on the team, it's gonna take less to bring in that big name player. You don't have to give up as much because you have young players on the team that are proven good players. So I would think if I'm Leon Rose, I would think that he wants the young players to get playing time because he wants them to develop and he wants them to get better and raise their value so that it makes it easier for him to get that big name player. So, but it's funny because
Ryan, if that's the case, why didn't he tell Tibbs to play them last year more?
Yeah. I was just about to get to that because I'm like, if that's the goal though, there has to be some disconnect between him and Tibbs, and because we said Tibbs is gonna be we talked about that because Tibbs he was not developing the young players. Like the young players were on the bench, Obi getting like 10, 11 minutes a game. The only one he was really playing like that was Quickly and like RJ, because RJ is already like established as one of the better young players on the team, and Mitch. So I think there's a disconnect there, but I would think if I'm Leon Rose, I would want my coach to play the young players so he can raise their value so that when we trade for that big name guy, it's not going to take as much to get him. You know what I mean?
No, I absolutely agree. And I do feel like Worldwide West did say something towards the end of the year because the timing of stuff was interesting. Taj Gibson was going to back of the bench. All of a sudden, we see Jericho Simmons, 58th pick of the draft, starting to get minutes. And that was after the news that some guys in the front office weren't happy with Tom Thibodeau. So I do feel like something happened because that's un-Tom-like.
The news has made it seem like it's it's Brock Aller and Wesley together against Tom. That's at least they've been saying it. It seems like they're the ones. They're arguing one side and then Tibbs arguing the other side and Leon Rose in the middle.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And it's playing out. So I this summer is going to be interesting to see how much of that pimp hand that the front office is going to layeth on Tom Thibodeau. I feel like they gave him a light tap towards the end of the season, but I want to see how good that follow through is towards the summer and into the season.
You know what scares me is this whole talk that like Tibbs is going to come back, but he's going to be on a short leash. That scares me because if Tibbs is like thinking I have to win X amount of games, if not, I'm going to get fired. He's only going to be more Tibbsy.
It depends. To me, it depends on the stipulations. Like I feel like they need to give. If I'm the Knicks organization and I go, hey, if you play the vets and we suck, we're going to fire you. But if you play the youth and we suck, we'll keep you. Like we gotta try it out. Like that's the angle I would go. That's the angle I would go. If you're going to try the same thing over and over again and it still doesn't work, we gotta let you go. Cause that's just crazy. That's just the way I would see it. That's just the way I would see it. But you know what? Let me move this conversation on about some other point guards. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All right, this one is an interesting one because I had somebody in the comments like a month ago say, here's a guy who we think we should target. And I dismissed it at first. It's like, why would the OKC let go of Shai Gilgeous? And then he was just it made sense when he was like, well, Giddey is there and he's lining up. He's a younger, cheaper point guard. And historically, when you have two talented guys playing in the same position, the first thought is not to play them both together. You can see what he's like with Randall and Obi. The first thought is not to play them both together. It's usually trade one. Especially if at this point in his career, Shai Gilgeous is, he might be more interested in winning than tanking at this point in the season. So I'm not sure how possible it is or not, but I looked at it as impossible a month ago, but now I'm thinking, Maybe. We already know the OKC doesn't want picks though, so it would have to be players. I don't know.
I'll let Ryan talk because I feel like I've been talking too much. So,
I don't think OKC's in a place yet to really give up Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, it's a nice pipe dream. I think, it's nice for us to dream and believe that, there might be a chance to get Shea Gilgeous, but I think right now he's probably the only max player on the team, and he's still young. So it's like he still fits in with the rebuild on the team. It's not like he's like in his prime, like he's 28, 29 years old, and the rest of the team is young and rebuilding. Like he still fits in within that timeline. So I don't think the Thunder is going to be willing to let go of Shea Gilgeous right now, even though they have Giddey on the come up. He's like the only max player on the team. So I mean, they still have cap space to sign another max player to pull with Shea Gilgeous, etc. So I don't see him as somebody that's going to be available for the Knicks to get through trade.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to be available at all. I don't think he's ever going to be available. I think, first off, I think that there's a good chance that OKC might pivot after this draft. If they get a top pick, they might say, hey, we have enough good players, we can start trying to be good.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I think they might tank again, but I think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander might complain to them, and then they'll be like, hey, listen, next year, that's it. No more tanking. We're going to actually try to be good after next draft, after 2023. Because 2023 has like the best prospect in like the last 10 years. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But the point is, I don't think they're too good. And also, those guys can play together. Like this idea that like Giddey is 6'8", Shea Gilgeous is 6'5" or 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan. Like both like two small point guards where like they can't play together. Like you want more players. Like you want those guys together. You want as many guys that have that skill set together as you can get.
Right. No, I agree. I feel like the only way I can see that happening is like I said, he's tired of losing at this point because it's obviously another rebuild year. And he says, I want to go somewhere. But then still at that point, do the Knicks have the best assets at this point?
Yeah, but also OKC could pivot. Like if he says that to Sam Presti, I want to start winning. Presti could say, you know what? I could do some things. I got all these draft picks. I could trade. I can get in the guys who can help you win.
No, you're right.
Yeah, that too.
You're absolutely right. But it's one of those things where you got to look for the disgruntled star. It's disgruntled star hunting time. Like, and they did that, and they did that before. They did that with who was there? It was like Melo and Paul George, and like Paul George was on Indiana, and they just brought him in, and it was like, all right, let's see what you got.
Yeah, but he had 1 year on his deal, and he was going to leave. He told the Pacers he wasn't re-signing. So
that too. Yeah.
Right. So maybe you do. I don't know. Zach LaVine. I don't know.
SGA got like 4 years left on. Oh, you're saying for OKC to get in the player? They got draft picks, man. Once one player is available, they could send like 7 draft picks, and it wouldn't be nothing to them.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right about that, man. This is kind of what I want to do. This I wanted to do the Sam Hinkie method ish.
You stop calling it the Sam Hinkie message and start calling it the is it Sam Presti, right, Sam?
Yeah, the Sam Presti. Sam Presti.
Yeah.
What he's doing is way worse than what Hinkie ever did.
Oh yeah, nah, that's a fact. That is a fact. But he can stand to do that now. He's in OKC. You mentioned
nobody cares about Oklahoma. It's so stupid. If the Knicks did that, we would be all over ESPN. They would probably try to fire. They would probably force Dolan to sell the team if the Knicks did that.
Right. All right. I know you mentioned another guy before. I know I feel like this is a Scott Perry guy. I don't even know if he's gonna be here next year. But Colin Sexton. I've been saying for years, for the last couple of years anyway, any young guy who can give you 20, over 20, and he's under 25, I'm looking at him like, huh.
You said he could give you 20?
If he can give you over 20 and he's under 25.
Efficiently. He ain't even efficient. That's the thing that most people don't. I'm so tired of people saying, oh, yeah, he scores a lot. Who cares if he scores a lot? Right? No, he scores a lot efficiently.
No, I had the same argument about Zach LaVine because people didn't want Zach LaVine a couple of years ago. And I was like, are you crazy? I was like, are you guys? I was getting called all sorts of names for wanting Zach LaVine. Like Zach LaVine was like 24 and he's giving you 25 something a game on efficient scoring, and Colin Sexton is doing the same thing. Now, here's the thing with Colin Sexton: he is a ball hog. I didn't pay the bill. He is a ball hog. And we have Julius Randle here, and we also have RJ Barrett here. So the ball movement will be very a sticky situation. We're gonna have to find a way to coach that out of him, or move other players to, make this more believable. But Colin Sexton, I just feel like he's one of those guys where you can nurture talent like that and flip him later, even if it does fit, just because he can give you a bucket, and there's a premium on guys who can give you buckets. I'm sorry, come on, like that.
Yeah, what the Knicks need to do is they need to take shots, like take risky moves. Like everything can't be safe. Like this player, we know this player is good. He's going to be this. But we need a guy who, if he hits, he could be an all-star. We got Cam Reddish, and everyone says if he hits, he could be great. If Sexton keeps getting better, he could be an all-star in the future. And like, what is the main thing that Tibbs wants a point guard to do?
Score.
Not just score. How? Score how?
Get to the basket.
Exactly. And that is exactly what Colin Sexton could do. And particularly being able to beat a man one-on-one. He could do it.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't pass a lot, but he actually can pass when he wants to. So you're right. Tibbs would have to coach him to pass more. But that's what Tibbs wants. He wants a downhill point guard. He wants a gym rat. These are all things that they say about Sexton. Everyone says he's a gym rat. A lot of people argue that part of the problem with Sexton is he's too intense.
Yeah, his attitude.
Yeah.
He was on a bad team. So when you like that on a bad team, you just get everyone pissed off with you. Tibbs loves that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because if you ask Jay Ellis, the year that Sexton was in the draft, like I wanted the Knicks to draft Sexton. Like, I was big on Sexton coming out of Alabama, and I agree. And I think also the fact that he's coming off an injury as well, I think he would be cheaper just for the simple fact that he's recovering from an injury. So I think it would be a cheap move. It would be a move that the Knicks can take a chance on. Sexton could be a big hit for the Knicks. And then if anything, if he's not such a big hit, it's not going to cost the Knicks much to get him. So I think it's a risk. I think it's a risk worth taking for the Knicks to go after Sexton if possible.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And you already know I was Darius Garland. Darius Garland Hive. And it's funny. I like
and you weren't wrong about that.
Drafts,
that man can ball. You definitely weren't wrong about that.
Those were different drafts.
No, that was a different draft. No, I'm just talking in general.
Yeah.
We've been talking. The Knicks have been wanting a point guard for years. So every year.
Oh yeah, I know.
I pointed out point guards
also,
I wanted.
Like here's the argument I'm tired of hearing. Oh well, he's not a true point guard. When I say this, neither is Emmanuel Quickley, and we all want him to play point guard. So he's not as much of a point guard as Emmanuel Quickley is, and you can argue Emmanuel Quickley has been coached to be a better point guard. So why can't you coach Colin Sexton to be a better point guard? Neither of them are both true point guards. So don't give me the argument he's not a true point guard, but then someone quick.
There aren't many.
He's not a true point guard either.
My thing is there aren't true point guards in the NBA anymore. There are.
Yeah, there's very few.
But there's you can count on a hand, and most of them are. We got Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Maybe you can say. I don't know. You can say Ja Morant-ish, but he's not even he's scoring point guard. He's a scoring point guard. Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, Tyus Jones is
Tyus Jones.
And Tyus Jones is another guy I want to mention.
Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry is another one. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most of the pure point guards are old.
Mike Conley
right now.
And I put an asterisk on Kyle Lowry too, because even Kyle Lowry, I feel like Kyle Lowry is a solid point guard. But I don't think of him as this guy who's a floor general.
He's good. He's a floor.
Well, he's floor general-ish, but there's levels of floor general. I'll say that.
He's not Chris Paul, but nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry, he can control pace, which is what point guards do, and he can, he can run a team from the point guard position. So I would say Kyle Lowry is a pure point guard.
You know what it is? I'm thinking about guys who can see. When I think about guys who can make plays happen or see plays before it develop, I don't put Kyle Lowry in.
No, but I think he's a good passer like that. He's just not a great scorer, so therefore he doesn't open up the options as much. I think he's a good player. It's just
No, he's a good player. I'm not knocking his. I kind of almost put him in the Tyus Jones-ish category where I feel like Tyus Jones is doing pretty good in the playoffs. You already see what he's done. He's Ja Morant has been injured. He's only been injured for most of the season. What were their record? 20-2.
It was really good.
Without Ja.
Without Ja Morant,
the 20-5, I believe.
Yeah, and he's a guy who I don't feel like he's getting to the hole at such a high clip, but he just makes the right pass and hits the three. Like that to me, that's like a Kyle Lowry-ish type of player to me.
Yeah, I think Kyle Lowry's like the best version of that.
Right.
Yeah. Pure point guard. Isn't that like what we think of when we think of a pure point guard?
Right. A pure point guard. But even for this Knicks team, the way it's constructed, I feel like I would like a pure point guard, but I think we need somebody to put the ball in the basket too.
Oh, I agree 100%. I'm just saying a lot of people, that's what they say whenever you talk about Sexton. They say, well, he's not really a point guard. He's more of a shooting guard. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, so was Emmanuel Quickly at Kentucky.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from a realistic standpoint, a lot of these young guards coming into the NBA nowadays, a lot of them are combo guards. They're not really a legit point guard. They're not really a legit shooting guard. They just have a combination of both. Like you can put them they have some point guard skills, they have some shooting guard skills, and then just combine them into one guard.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
The other reason I like Sexton so much is because one of the things that I keep pushing back on people is like this idea of just trading Randall for nothing. Is that if you trade Randall for nothing, where does his usage go? RJ already has a high usage. And I mean, okay, you could try to give it to Quickly, but come on, you're really going to just be like, Quickly, go out there and shoot 20 shots a game? If you have a Sexton, it's like, okay, now you have a player who, if Randall sits, we know RJ and Sexton could take a lot of the shots.
Right. And here's my thing with Quickly. And like I said, I don't know if it's a surefire way. I just feel really good about it. I feel like if you give him a chance, he can do it. But I almost feel like it's almost like a package deal to me. I feel like Obi and Quickly's game complements each other so well that if you have those two in at the same time, is a chance that like we can stay afloat. Because when I'm looking at their game, right, I'm looking at Quickly, who's been defensive rebounding at such a high clip. And then I'm looking at Obi Toppin, who is one of the fastest, if not the fastest player in the fast break situations, who's like a leak out god. I'm thinking a point guard who can rebound and a power forward who's the fastest in the open floor. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare pair of skill sets that can punish teams for long periods of time. And then you combine that with the floater going into the pick and roll and Quickly being able to hunt mismatches and get to the hole better, and Obi is a chance for something to be really good if those guys are playing together, man. Like I really think there's a shot. But not to say that Colin Sexton wouldn't be nice as well. I think I'm on board for Colin Sexton because he's a young player and he will solidify us for real. But I'm also I have a really good feeling about Quickly this season, man. I got
a good feeling. I mean, I got a good feeling about Quickly too. But I don't want to. I just think people. I don't know. People. I feel like Knicks fans are putting almost too much pressure on him right now. The way it is right now, everyone's like. Whereas if he's not that good, like, if he takes a step back, everyone's gonna be like. I feel like everyone's expecting him to be so great already.
That's Knicks fans.
Yeah,
that's everybody. That's Knicks. Like we can't at this point.
Just Quickly though, it's not. They're not Obi. Okay, people think he's good, but no one's like, oh my god, Obi next year is gonna be this and that. Like people are really expecting a lot from Quickly next year. Like people are like everyone. Every time if a Knicks fan posts a highlight or anything about Brunson, anyone, IQ's better. They're putting a lot on him. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, they putting a lot on RJ. They want to, man. Everybody's really gung ho about maxing RJ, and I'm not saying not to max. I'm not saying RJ not to pay RJ to max RJ.
Why not?
Huh?
You could say not to max RJ.
No, I don't want. You know what's funny? It's funny, before Berman said it, I don't know, because you hear it all the time. When matching RJ came up, the day before Berman said it, I said it at the very end of a show. But it was like the last 2 minutes of the show. And I was like, I wouldn't max RJ at this point. Like, and he's a good player, but he's not a max player to me at this point. And I would have incentives, just like they did with Julius Randle. They didn't max Julius Randle. They was like, if you make this,
the thing is they gave Julius Randle the max they could give him at the time, though. So that's the confusing part that everyone gets confused about.
No, he could have had more. There was more money.
No, he couldn't. I don't think he could have got more money. I think
there was more money on the table.
His extension could be.
There was more money on the table. There was just bonuses if he was reaching All-Star status, and
yeah,
he wasn't max.
I think
he wasn't. No, Julius Randle was not max. And shout out to JT Reddick since 499 super chat. He says, "Yeah, salute. I don't know what move is really going to move the needle. It's a mess out here. Nah, it is a mess out here."
Yeah, so I think, I mean, look, I
gotta give me one moment.
Yeah, you could pay RJ a lot of money without giving him a max,
and that's all I'm saying. Give
him like 150 million. That's not a little bit of money. That's not like, oh my god, how dare you give him 150 million?
Nah, I agree with you.
That if you give him 5 years, 150 million, that's a lot of money. That's $30 million a year.
Yeah, and listen. RJ has a chance to be an all-star. He absolutely does have a chance to be an all-star. And he really does, but he has to improve his percentages. He has to improve his finishing. And it's not a foregone conclusion that that's going to happen, but he's going to work on it, and I trust that he's going to put the work in, and that's why I love RJ so much. I wouldn't trade him in no Donovan Mitchell trade or anything like that, because I still want to see what he has. But, he has a chance. He has a chance. But the thing about RJ is he still gets to the thing that I like about RJ, he still gets to the rack, and he still is going to draw fouls. So even if his percentages are kind of low, he can offset that if he just improves his free throw shooting.
Yeah, I was going to say he got to make free throws though.
He has to improve his free throws. If he improves his free throws alone, then it's not so bad. It's not so you can get by. But to get that to that
James Harden, that's what James Harden did for like, and now we're seeing it. That's what James Harden did. You just keep getting free throws.
Just keep hitting free throws. But yeah, I don't think it's the time to max RJ. But extend them, yes. Max.
When people think they act like it's disrespectful to say that. Like I said, I still think you should get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
But not 180 million? That's a lot of money. Like
yeah. Nah, I agree.
I mean, if you could just tell them, look, you didn't make the All-Star team. If you would have made the All-Star team, we would have gave you the max.
Yeah. Absolutely. But at this point, I do get the fear though. I do get the fear. When Kristaps Porzingis was here, it's funny because when Kristaps Porzingis was here, and we was having the same conversation about Kristaps Porzingis. He's the best player we had in a long time. He's a unicorn. He's the 4th pick. We should max him. And the fear of the pillar of your franchise leaving and being unhappy is really what, force people to say, we're just giving the max anyway, just because we don't.
Yeah, but he was an all-star. But the thing is this, that conversation kind of ended when he tore his ACL.
It did.
Before he tore his ACL, he was an all-star. RJ is not an all-star.
Right, but to me, even before that, I didn't see him as a max player. Because to me, a max player is a person who can force double teams and be a playmaker and be the guy who can run a team the whole time. Kristaps Porzingis to me wasn't doing that. Like he can.
So Anthony Davis is not a max player?
Anthony Davis can force a double team.
Yeah, but he can't. All right. I mean, I guess you're right about that.
If you can force a double team, to me, if you're in the NBA, if you can force a double team, then you can start to make everybody else better. But to me, the first step to making everybody else better is forcing a double team. And that's as a point guard, you can do that by being able to go to the hole and people collapsing, RJ can do the same thing at shooting guard position, and that's why I like RJ and his playmaking ability. That's why I feel like he has a chance. More than a chance of Kristaps in my opinion.
No, Ryan's like, why are you guys talking about Porzingis? But no, all I will say is this: I think if he didn't get hurt, I think he would definitely deserve a max player if he never got hurt. But my thing is this: I think you have to take into account the defensive impact, and I think that the fact that you're gonna see this with this draft. Chet Holmgren is literally the same exact type of player.
Right.
You could defend the paint at that high level and block everything and also stretch the floor at that high level. You might not be able to draw double teams. You might not be a playmaker, but you are really valuable.
No, valuable is different.
Valuable is what we're talking about. We're talking about money.
Right.
Money, valuable.
But valuable and max valuable is different. If you're looking at Dallas right now, tell me Dallas is getting this far with Kristaps Porzingis on the line. They not.
If he
they
never
not.
Tore his
they
ACL,
are not.
That's what I was talking about, Jay. Like that's a whole different world.
ACL or not. Player. Well, first of all,
he was a different player on the Knicks before he tore his ACL.
I agree with that.
That is true.
I agree with that. But
I'm talking pre-injury Porzingis, not after. Now I don't care about him now. I'm saying pre-injury Porzingis.
No, I agree. Before his ACL, he was a different player.
That's what Chet Holmgren's going to be. So just remember this, because there's going to be a lot of debates about whether he should be the number one pick or not.
No, I agree. No, I do agree to that. Before he tore his ACL, he was an all-star. He was a better all-around player. But even
the reason we got to this, Ryan, is because we were talking about RJ, and he was saying how it's a similar situation. I'm like, yeah, but Porzingis was an all-star in his third year, and then he tore his ACL, so that's why it's different.
Oh, okay.
Right. I'm sorry. I didn't even know how that conversation got here. But I'm about to turn into a thrash KP situation, and that's not even where I want to go.
Isn't it great to watch the Mavericks and not have to root against them?
Oh, it's a completely different feeling watching.
I love watching Luka play. Luka's one of my favorite players.
Luka's a beast.
My boy Frank is playing too. So,
exactly. Hive all day. I can cheer for Luka and Frank now and not have to worry about the snake. Even though Dinwiddie, is but I can kind of get over that.
Yeah, I mean Dinwiddie not as bad as KP though. That's the thing.
That's a different situation.
And it's like Dinwiddie's been humbled. I feel like with the way the Wizards just threw him out, like they didn't care about him.
Right. Shout out to Paris Gallagher. He says send a $2 super chat. Says, would you trade RJ for the Pelicans 7th pick? Hell no.
Wait, trade RJ? What? No.
Hell no. The 7th pick?
No.
I don't even know if I would trade him for the. I mean, you guys, it's a debate if I would trade him for the top pick. It's a debate.
That's a debate. Yeah, it's a debate, but
this draft is a debate because the top 4 picks, they're good, but like
they're not lottery.
They're not like, oh, this guy's gonna be a Hall of Famer off the bat.
Right. To answer your question, Parrish, no, we wouldn't.
I mean, I'll tell you this: if the Knicks were to trade RJ for the 7th pick, Leon Rose and Scott Perry, all of them dudes will be fired the next day. Fired the next day if they would actually to make that trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I don't think that. Here's another thing with that. I don't think they're going to trade any of the young like IQ, Obi, or RJ for the simple fact that I think the fans would riot. Like if they were to trade one of them, even if it was for Donovan Mitchell, the riot.
Yes, and they'll get over it. Listen, freaking Golden State traded Monta Ellis, and they rioted. That was the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah, but we're not Golden State. We're New York, the Knicks, man. We're crazy.
For Donovan Mitchell,
the side talk videos.
I already know what happened. Fans are riot for like a week. Donovan Mitchell will get here. Everybody will start to cheer. He's gonna drop 24. And they're gonna cheer for Donovan Mitchell, and then they're gonna cheer for Quickly in Utah when they see him. That's what would happen.
Better hope we win, because that's the thing.
If we win, and I don't think it's gonna be as bad as you think. It's gonna be bad for a stint. But it's not gonna be bad for the entire time. That's the way I see it anyway. But yo, so salute to the chat, man. Thanks for watching. We go all over the place right now. We talking.
I'm shocked nobody else has joined this besides just me.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Today was
you know what it is? I think people feel like this is the panel, so they're like, yeah, we're just gonna watch these guys talk, and I don't think they're aware that they could join if they want to. I think they just think that we're a panel, so they're like, yeah, we're just gonna sit back and watch.
You know,
thanks. That makes me feel good. That makes me think that they think that I'm a host. That's crazy.
Yeah, man, Jason. Well, I'm about to wrap it up, so we might have to do this format again. I'm gonna try it again. Maybe I'll try to package it better. Click to join.
I didn't know this was coming on. I just went on YouTube and saw it. So that's another thing. I don't know if
yeah, I posted it on Twitter. I know a lot of people follow me on Twitter. I posted it on Twitter with a direct link. Say, hey fans, you can join it.
When did you post it on Twitter, though?
I posted it today. It was like an hour before.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, so if you would have posted it maybe earlier and then a reminder, then because I'm always on Twitter and I didn't even know this.
I feel you. Got you. All right, but you know what? Do you guys have anything else to say? I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I feel like we talked about everybody, but we talked about Tyus Jones. Oh, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go through the list, either or, and see Tyus Jones or Emmanuel quickly.
For what?
Starting point guard, New York Knicks. Would you?
I don't think Tyus Jones.
Yeah, I think Tyus is more of a backup. I mean, I would pick quickly over him.
Okay.
I would love it if Tyus Jones was Emmanuel Quickly's backup.
All right. Jalen Brunson or quickly.
I mean,
that's the pause.
Get Brunson if you could get him. Well, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson, he's balling in the playoffs. I mean, we've yet to see what Quickly can do in the play. I mean, we have seen a little bit, but that was his rookie season. So, yeah, Brunson at the moment. Brunson, yeah.
Is there a number that scares you? Because the number was 20 million before, and I can see the number going up. Maybe 27.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't pick him up for 27. No.
It got to be below 25. That's my number, but it might. That's what he might get paid, man. He's been balling.
Yeah, I think 20 is reasonable. If I can get him at a reasonable price, but if I'm to overpay, I'm not pulling the trigger on that. No.
Shaw Powers asked will quickly be a starter. If Brunson is here, he's not going to be a starter. Guaranteed.
I don't think Quickly has any chance of being a starter next year. Sorry to burst everyone's bubble.
Such a downer. All right. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for you said sorry, but you're really not. All right.
It's either going to be Rose or whoever the Knicks bring in.
Yeah, or it might not. I mean, he made Alec Burks the point guard. Did any of us think that was going to happen? Like, it could be some weird thing we don't even think about. And we're like, really? That's what you're going to do?
You have to move Alec Burks because
could be RJ Barrett for all we know.
Oh, and here comes Ken. All right, Ken, I'm about to wrap it up. So you got to make this one quick, but I'm putting Ken in the room right now. Shout out to Ken. Go to the four screen mode. Why are we talking to Ken? Because this was the open chat version of the Knick of Time show. Could have up to 6 people. Right now it's 4. But let me get these super chats. How about RJ? Well, you just want to get rid of RJ. Okay, cool. How about RJ for the Pelicans 2 first-round picks? 2 first-round picks.
I'm not.
I don't know where you get
RJ for picks right now.
They only have 1 first-round pick. Where did you get 2 from?
I don't know.
Either way, I'm not moving RJ for picks right now. No.
I know the Pelicans he's probably thinking because the Pelicans have the Lakers pick.
No, well, the thing is, they had another pick, but that pick is going to Charlotte.
Got you.
Yeah, but like I said, either way, I'm not trading RJ for picks at this moment, so no.
Yeah, I agree with you. JT Riddick since the 499 super chat says, "Great show, Jason. You did your thing on today's show. Salute. I gotta Zoom the next time.
Thanks.
All right. Ken is still signing up.
Yeah, still connecting audio.
Connecting audio. All right. So I think we all agree Colin Sexton over Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah.
It would be great together, to be honest. Like, they don't got to be one.
I feel like it has to be.
Why? He played Rose with Quickly together.
Yeah. It's funny because, you know what? They could play together. When I looked at Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, I always thought it was a mistake to have Garland off ball. I always thought it was a mistake. because he's more of the pure playmaker out of the two.
Yeah, but he's a better passer than both Quickly and
yeah, not for real, for sure.
Yeah.
But offensively, I think that I would have to check, but I think offensively they were pretty good. It was defensively that they got killed. But IQ is a much better defender than Garland is.
Yeah, he definitely is. He would have there would be a problem I don't think it would be a problem with them both starting together, I would think, because of the size. Because I think that only works when you're a team like the Raptors, because when the Raptors did it, they had Kyle Lowry and
Van Vliet.
And Van Vliet. Those guys are short, but they're also stocky. So
look, they don't have to start together, but they can play together.
They can play together in stints.
That was my point. They can play
together in stints
a lot.
Yeah.
They can play together in stints, but I don't know if I would do like 30 minutes a game with both of them playing together. That might be much to me.
If they both as good as we think they could be.
I mean, I would definitely surround him with like guys who can defend. Like, if I'm gonna have Sexton and Quickly in the backcourt, I'm making sure my front three can really defend.
Nah, I agree with you. There. And I'm hey Ken, are you still, what happened to you? You got stuck in the Matrix? I'm trying to wait for you, bro. We'll wrap the show up.
But just remember, like, the Knicks had one of the best benches, and it was IQ and Derrick Rose playing together.
Yeah, the Knicks had they were top 3 scoring bench in the league.
That worked.
No, you're right.
I know it was a bench unit,
but
it worked.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm just worried about the defense. I'm worried about the defense offensively for long. I'm worried about the defense long term for long stretches of time.
I'm worried about what's his name, Fournier. If he starts, I don't want Fournier starting next year. Because unless Emmanuel Quickly was, obviously this is odd. Unless Emmanuel Quickly is the starting point guard, I don't want Fournier starting, because whoever was the starting point guard is most likely not going to be that good a defensive player. Like Brunson, Sexton, neither of them are great defensive players.
Which is why I wanted Grimes in to start.
Which is why, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
This is why I wanted the Grimes to start. That's a whole other story. Yeah. My guy again, Ken, is trying to figure it out.
Yeah, struggling at the moment.
Mm-hmm. But shout out to the chat real quick while we're waiting for Ken to drop his last minute jewels. See, Shot Power says you also have the Westbrook deal with Levine and Randall. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Is there a chance to move Randall for D. Russell?
I'm not sure why the Timberwolves will take that, but
I think that's trade actually, because here's my question. You're right. I don't think the Timberwolves will really want Randall, but who are they getting for D'Angelo Russell?
I mean,
it's funny. I've never been a big Russell fan in general. I know. I know Raw loves Russell. I've never been a big Russell's fan.
But he got better this year. Like, his defense this year was actually pretty good. This is the first year where he actually was a pretty good defensive player, because he's been terrible the rest of his career.
The only issue I have with D'Angelo Russell is the efficiency. That's the only issue I really have with him.
That's always been my issue with him.
That's my only issue with him.
Always been my issue. Shout out, yo, what's going on, Ken? Shout out to Ken. He's joined us in the chat.
I thought I was in the dark.
Yeah, he's in the dark.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yo, what's going on, Ken?
Yo, I thought you guys were done already, man.
Yo, we are done. You jumped in the room the last minute, so I'm gonna let you speak your piece on what's been going on tonight, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Oh man, hey, thanks for having the show. Yeah, man, I think we definitely need to talk about the point guard position, what's going on, and the bit I heard, you guys made some good points. I really don't know where we're gonna go this off season. Honestly, Brunson, like you said, his price tag keeps going up. And I really don't see anybody who's going to be available. I think, to your point, you guys are talking about Shai SGA. Mm-hmm. I could see something like at the trade deadline, like maybe him, Zion, a couple of guys, even Dame, like, teams that are going south. And then maybe like, okay, let's start making a move. We're going to tank for 2023 draft and maybe make a trade there. So, but yeah, this off season, it's going to be difficult. The only last thing I want to mention really quick is I sent you the article on the draft conspiracy, predictions for the draft.
Right.
So obviously we want the Knicks to move up. It's not a really good chance they do. The Lakers did move up in 2019 when they had the 11th pick, like the Knicks did. But they're the Lakers. We're the Knicks. But the other thing is that in the article I do mention there is a trend about the teams that move up every year. So if you notice, the teams that have moved up in the lottery the last 3 years since they flattened the odds, they all have something in common, and that's in the article. So whenever that gets published, there's some good tidbits in there, and then some good conspiracy theories as well. So,
all right. Is it that they lose one of their key players before they move up?
I'm sorry?
You trying to guess the article?
Is it that they lose one of their key players that's right before they move up?
That who loses a key player?
The team that moves up. So, like, for instance, the Grizzlies, they lost Mike Conley and Marc Gasol. They moved up.
I wrote that.
Anthony Davis, they moved up. The Raptors lost Lowry. They moved up.
Yeah, that's I've mentioned that. All right, see, I'm not the only one, so I'm not that crazy. This was more difficult, right? Because like those are like some obvious needs. This year, it's a little more difficult, and part of it is like you don't know what Portland's going to do because if they're going to keep Dame or move him. But what I was looking at is the clue I'll give you is who really needs a star, right? Out of the small market teams. And then when I was doing the analysis, like one team stuck out is like, hey, this team really needs to get taken care of by Adam Silver.
Spurs.
And then there's the other things that that would benefit the league. So last year I did pretty good predicting the draft. I got 10 out of 14.
Nice.
But we'll see this year. This year looks tougher. So, and of course,
the lottery or the picks? You predicted the picks?
No, just the lottery.
He always picks. He tries to. Jay Ellis, what are you gonna do? Like, who do you think is gonna win? I was like, I don't know, Ken. Like, he's like, you don't know. It's not an acceptable answer. He's been mad at me every year.
They appreciate it. It's like
also,
no one's gonna.
I mean, it's luck, Ken. That's why it's lottery.
If you hit,
I think Dame is staying. By the way,
if you miss, no one's gonna remember. That's it.
They just hired the GM to be the full-time GM, and Dame is going to be at the lottery. He's going to be the guy, their representative.
Oh, he's definitely staying. I think Zion's staying too. By the way,
that's what I'm thinking. Is it's all moving now. The big question is Anthony Simons. Are they going to do a sign and trade like LaMelo Ball did, or are they just going to keep him? Because if you keep him, it's kind of the same situation they had with McCollum, right? It's two small guards. But I'm thinking is Portland could be a good destination for Randall because they're desperate and there isn't many options out there, and they need a front court guy. So maybe we are able to dump Randall up on Portland. But like I said, it also depends what happens to the lottery because if we get lucky, we move up, then that opens up a lot of opportunities for us. So we'll see. But so that article will be coming out soon.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, guys, check it out. Let me know what you think, and you can tell me I'm crazy, and it's cool.
Yeah, I'll try to post that tonight. Actually, after we get off, I'll post it up so you can get a look at that.
All right, hey man, thank you guys for doing this, man. We need our Knicks fixed, man. We can't. We need to at least have one of these once a week, man, to get us through. So next time you do this, we'll actually know where the Knicks are picking. So then we can start strategizing.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah, for sure. You definitely right about that. All right.
You guys have a good night.
Thanks a lot.
All right,
I'm sure you're ending, right?
Salute.
All right.
So yeah,
Salute.
This is our open forum. I might try to have another one. Might try to have another open forum. If you guys didn't know, shout out to still Knicks fans. I'm gonna try to have another open forum situation just to switch it up. Maybe we'll do that more in the off season. Maybe during the season we'll do this like once a month or something. Just to switch it up, give you guys a chance to like really get in here. But yeah, I'm still contemplating on what to do. I know the draft is on Tuesday. I'm trying to figure out, should I do a draft Tuesday or should I wait to get the draft guy? Should I do a draft show Tuesday or should I wait to get a draft guy so we can really deep dive?
Which draft guy are you gonna get?
I'm definitely gonna bring Jake back.
Jake Rosen?
Bring Jake Rosen back.
Yeah,
and
he's good.
I might try to see. I feel like Corey would be down too. I haven't talked to Corey in a minute. I haven't talked to Corey in a minute. So, but yeah, I'm gonna look to bring those guys back and talk some draft. Sometime I'm thinking I'm leaning towards after Tuesday. But let me know what you guys think.
I mean, me personally, I would probably wait till I get the draft expert, you know, and then do the draft show then.
Okay, yeah, I want to get like a real. I don't want to do
Yeah.
a show for show's sake. I want to get like information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should probably get in like the draft people, get them to talk, and then later, because a lot of people don't really know a lot about the draft. Like they learn it from these videos.
Right. And like Jake and those guys, like that's what they do.
Yeah, those guys do. I got so much respect for them.
Yeah, man.
Watching college basketball, but I can't be like cramming through like 5 hours on one player.
Yeah,
exactly.
And congratulations to Jake. I think he got like a promotion. And I keep saying, I feel like we were the first ones to put him in the Knicks YouTube streets, and he's blowing up now. So shout out to Drake. Not to say that to take, because he's done a great job, and he puts in a lot of work. So shout out to Drake, to Jake for all the work he's done. Drake, nah, shout out to Jake.
Drake.
And shout out to Kendrick, man. Listen to the album, and I haven't really got a good listen to it, but the single's dope. Single's definitely dope, iconic single. But
yes, sir.
Let's go. All right, that is our show.
Thanks for having me. All right, I'm gonna head out. Thanks.
All right, no problem.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. It's fun. Hold on, let me switch up the screen. Sorry. It was fun. It was fun having me here. Good to see you, Jason. Now I know what you look like. But yo, that is our show. Next show. I'm not sure what the next show is gonna be, but I'm working on some other stuff behind the scenes to get some other content going. So hopefully, that'll be coming to you guys soon. All right. But we will be doing a draft show after Tuesday, so keep an eye out for that. All right. And if something else pressing happens, we'll definitely talk about it. And salute to y'all, man. Thanks for the likes and the subscribes. On the road to 7,000 subscribers. So hope we get there. All right.
Yes, sir.
So you know what, Ryan, let them know where they can find you, sir.
You can find me on Instagram at Sir G is chillin'.
Sir G is chillin'.
That's SIRG is CHILLIN. I got some things in the pipeline, so watch out for Sir G's Corner as well. And of course, Sir G's Chill. I'm gonna be posting content on there soon enough. And also, you can find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT.
All right. Also, you already know you can find us. You can find us at DKOT Show on Twitter. Hold on, let me get my. Yeah, you can find us on the DKOT Show on Twitter. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. You can find us also on the Knick of Time Show on Instagram and Facebook. And you can buy our KOT snapbacks at knickoftimeshow.com. So thank you guys for watching. That is our show. We are out of here.
Peace.
Wait, hold on.
Oh yeah. You forgot, man.
We did hit the 7,000 mark.
Oh, we did?
We hit the 7,000 mark. I'm sorry. Yo, thank you guys. After the Berman episode, we did hit 7,000. So shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to you guys.
That's what's up.
For the support. Thank you. We hit 7,000 subscribers. Next stop is 10K.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully we'll get there soon enough. I want to get there by September. Let's see. Let's make it happen. All right. All right. That is our show. We out of here.
Peace.
Shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here.